What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a little bit of day in the life. We just picked up a seal kit. It's actually to my right for a Komatsu forklift that we're going to be replacing the lift cylinder, the primary lift cylinder, or also called the free lift cylinder seal kit. And the reason we're doing that is because when you raise it up, the forks go down by itself. So 9 times out of 10, that means that the seals are doing an internal bypass, the bottom seals. So we're gonna be replacing that and also doing a preventative maintenance on it and just doing like a whole check over. This forklift is new to me. This is the first time I'm working on it, so I wanted to do a one saw, look over everything, check every hose, make sure it has no leaks, and just do an oil change and check all the fluids to make sure it's running tip top. So yeah, we're driving about 30 minutes to get there. We just picked up our seal kit, and yeah, I'll see you guys there. All right, I did a little quick stop to buy some electrical stuff that I needed. I use these a lot for battery terminals and whatnot. More heat shrink, things like that. Fuses, I use these a bunch. I got a little value pack, inline fuse holder. These are really useful. Some more heat shrink, and basically just keep a bunch over here. Oh yeah. So I go through these a lot, so I try to keep a good stock of these all the time when doing electrical work and all that stuff. All right, so here is the forklift that we're going to be working on today, and it's actually in really good conditions. Just from looking at it from the outside, it didn't look beat up or abused. Here's the seal kit that we're going to be placing. Here's the cylinder, and here's the model number of the forklift, FG30 SHT-16. So first step is to raise the forks, and we're gonna put a block of wood underneath here so that we can free up the tension of the chains and to be able to lift it out. So I did that, and then I put a bucket underneath, oil catch can pretty much, and a pan so that if we do get any spill, doesn't get on the customer's floor. So I did that, and next we're gonna remove this load backrest, or just move it down to where the forks are. So we're gonna remove the top 2 pins and get that done. So here it is. So that gives us access to the actual cylinder itself. We're gonna remove all this, the chains, to be able to get to the cap and get started. Now the way to take the tension out of the chains, again, you put a block of wood underneath, and then you lower the forks on top of it, and then you pull the chain with the other hand. So here are the chains and everything off. Here's the pulleys off. Next step is to try or remove this snap ring, and then this piece on the top comes out. But as you'll see in the video, the piece gets stuck, so I choose to remove that after I remove the whole entire cylinder. All right, so the way that I was able to break this loose was with a chain wrench, and then I just use a cheater bar pretty much with it, and that pretty much does the trick. You can start it with a punch, a chisel, and try to break it free, but I've damaged cylinder heads with that, so I wouldn't recommend it. And I just use this, and it seems to work every single time. right, next step is to raise the actual cylinder itself. I didn't have another forklift to raise this up. If you had another forklift, you could put a chain on top of there and lift it up, but I just used the actual pressure itself, lifting it all the way up until it's about to fall out. You'll see it in a second, and then you just pull it out with your hands. It's a lot easier. Sometimes, depending if the seal is super bad, it'll start the oil will start bypassing through the seal, so that's why I put a can underneath. And so here's the cylinder out already. I cleaned it up with some brake clean, and we're gonna take it to the truck and take it apart and replace the seals. It didn't look too bad. The bottom seal looks kind of worn out, as you can see, but it wasn't broken, split, or anything. So I think it just over time the lips on the seal itself just wore down, and that's why it was bypassing. So either way, we have all the seals, so we might as well just replace all of them and get this part on the top out first. All right, so here's the cap of the cylinder. Here are the old seals that I took out on the left, and the good seals, the new seals, on the right. Now make sure you clean it really well with brake clean. Make sure you scrape all the inside of it. Make sure there's no rust or debris in there so that your new seal doesn't get damaged. All right, so on a lot of cylinders, and sometimes I forget to do this too, the OEM kits come with an O-ring that goes on this very bottom of the piston itself. And so when I took this snap ring out and I took that little plate out, you'll see the little cover, it didn't have an O-ring in it. Now why it didn't have an O-ring, I have no idea. I don't know if someone forgot to put it in. I don't know if maybe it just didn't come with it. I don't know. But right where I have my pick, you'll see it on the outside. Let me focus here. Right there, that little groove right there, there's supposed to be an O-ring that goes in there. And so, and it did come with the seal kit. So I put the O-ring in. You'll see it here in a second. There it is. Now what that does, it prevents fluid from going out of that O-ring and going in through that circle. At least that's how I understand it. And maybe that's why it was bypassing through. I don't know. I can't really say. So here are all the seals put in. Everything's all set and done. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease here and put it back in. Now what I did here was I cracked the line all the way in the bottom, and I pointed the fitting down, so when I do put the cylinder in, all that air escapes through the bottom and it's a lot easier. So here's everything put back in. I tightened everything, tightened down the line. I tightened down where the pulley goes, where the chains go. I'm sorry, not the pulley. The pulley's here. I'm about to put the pulley back on. But I tightened the cap and everything. Here's the pulley and everything back on. I'm just raising the cylinders, and everything works perfect. Make sure you raise all the forks all the way up to be able to get the air out of the system. What you can do too is crack open the tank, the hydraulic tank, to relieve pressure and air if you want. I do that sometimes. You don't have to do it, but you know, just to be safe. Make sure you clean all the residue. This one ended up going great. No problems. It didn't fall by itself, as you can see here. And this is all the oil that came out when I cracked the line. So everything went smooth, and now it's time for the maintenance. Now the maintenance part is pretty simple. Change the oil, clean everything. We're gonna clean the terminals of this battery, make sure that everything's clean. Check all the fluids, transmission fluid, coolant fluid levels. We're gonna dust off the truck. There's the oil filter down there. And make sure you check all the bearings, all the kingpins. Here's me changing the oil. There's the oil pan down there, and there's the bolt. Sometimes you may need to replace that copper washer, but it's not always necessary. And it's a 14 millimeter. Here's the old oil filter, and here's the new one. It's a K&N. In fact, this K25 engine, this is a Nissan K25 engine. These are actually really reliable. I highly recommend Komatsu's because of it. If it has this K21 or K25 engine, they have the same exact oil filter as a Toyota 4Y engine, just so you know. Here's how the condition of the air filter was. It's actually really dirty, so we're gonna replace this air filter because we don't want debris and stuff going in there and potentially harming the engine. So make sure this also points to the top. It's like that for a reason. Next, we check the pulley tension on the alternator belt, or the belt tension, my bad. And we make sure that the water pump bearing is good and doesn't have any play, so everything checks out. And then we're going to check for leaks around the valve cover, through the back, around where the hydraulic pump is, on the side right there. Didn't find any leaks. There's a starter right there. There's a little bit of residue on the hydraulic tank, but it's kind of normal. What we did find though right here is on the actual crankshaft seal. You can see right there underneath the harmonic balancer right there, you can tell that it's been leaking, and that's just dirt that's built up there. So maybe in the near future that's gonna have to be addressed. Here the side shifter is also leaking. You can't really tell on this side, but if we go on around the other side, you can tell. And it's right underneath the cap itself. You can kind of see it there. I'm gonna try to zoom in right there. Tilt cylinders weren't leaking, so those are good. And this one, the actual dust cover is missing, so I'm gonna tell the customer that. This one does have the dust cover. And then we're gonna inspect the steer cylinder itself, and it doesn't look like it's leaking, so that's good. So far we've only found a few things. Nothing super crazy, but you know, it's stuff that we have to tell the customer so that they know. Radiator fluid was good, no worries there. So far we have the main seal is most likely leaking, not to the floor, but it definitely needs to be addressed at some point. The side shifter is leaking, and I think that's about it. So don't forget that grease feeding in the back, in the very back, that greases your axles, the steer axle where it pivots. Anyways, yeah, so everything went well. Customer was super happy. The forklift wasn't in a super terrible shape. The only thing I noticed was like I said in the video, the rear main seal, or I guess the front main seal, I guess you want to call it crankshaft seal. That one was leaking, not to the floor, but you can tell it's been leaking for a little while now. The other thing that we found was the side shifter leaking. They're gonna hold off on that for now because it's not a terrible leak. And then they do want to take care of the secondary cylinder leaks bypass that it's doing. So I'm gonna send them a quote. I'm also gonna send them a quote for the steer tires because they're pretty worn down. Not only that, but they use that forklift about 4 hours a day going across the street and back. So that puts a lot of wear and tear on your tires. And so I'm gonna send them a quote for a pretty good brand tire. Continental is probably the most expensive that I can get, and those are really good. And Globe Stars are really good. My local tire place here has them, so I'll get some quotes out. We're gonna go eat now, some lunch, and then go make a hose. Alright, so here's the hose we gotta make. This is for another job I have pending for a Bobcat 763. Now here's the new hose made, and I picked up some other things that you guys will probably like too. These are some plugs for hydraulic lines. These are multi-purpose. You can use them just about anything that you need to plug up. These are super handy. I had a set and I lent it to a friend and I never got it back, so I bought another one. Here's another thing that you guys might like. These are the male JIC fitting repair kit. Now I got several sizes of these. The way this works is sometimes the face of the male end of the JIC, like for example this hose that I made here, it can get damaged several ways. It can get cut, it can get nicked, it can get bent, you know, a whole bunch of things that happen out in the field. And so this goes up against here and it creates a bigger surface area. This is obviously too big of a size, that's just the first one I grabbed, but sometimes when you tighten these, when it gets damaged, it'll start leaking even when you tighten them real hard. So this acts as a, see, if I take this one out, it for sure will fit. I'll show you in a second. It's kind of hard to record with one hand and do this, but just to show you guys. So you put it up against here and then you put your female end in, and that'll create a bigger surface area, and then that should plug up the leak. It's definitely saved me a bunch of times before. I totally forgot that I had run out of these, so I grabbed some more, and I thought I'd share it with you guys to see if maybe you guys have used these before, maybe you haven't. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these. I got different sizes, but this has saved me a few times out in the field, and so I highly recommend these for you guys. So that's pretty much it. Just wrapping up the day here. I got home. I'm just cleaning out the doghouse here. Don't judge me. I kind of have a bunch of stuff in the back right now. There's the hose. Just cleaning out some things and preparing for the day tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll have a big cylinder to remove, and you guys will see that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. This is number 1 of day in the life. I will try to make more of these so you guys can follow along in my journey. And here's my daughter, and she's gonna grab my phone and throw it on the ground. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, and bye.